But no, it's a great family. He was a great man. He was a brave man. He saw what was happening and he jumped on top.
In Pennsylvania, Donald Trump spoke about slain firefighter Corey Comperatore and then turned the death into a punchline.
But you know what? Corey's wife said, "I'd rather have my husband." Isn't that good? I know a lot of wives that would not say that. I'm sorry. They would not say that.
On social media, the reaction was harsh. Chiffonel, what a sick cockroach. Cat, Trump is indeed a sociopath. Imagine saying shit like this while the deceased man's family is in mourning. Horrifying. Sabrina, OMG, he is horrible. But you know what? So are all those maggots who laugh with him. On top of the joke, Trump used Comperatore's location to flirt with a young woman.
Exactly, because he was exactly where that very beautiful woman in the white is, right? Stand up. That's exactly. And my son said that's not a long distance.
Trump's speech featured some of his usual lines.
I think Nancy Pelosi turned down 10,000 troops.
He rewrote the history of January the 6th.
Walked peacefully and patriotically down to the Capitol. You remember the term? Peacefully and patriotically.
Trump smeared President Biden and Vice President Harris.
All the while, Harris and Biden sit in the White House and try and figure out who's dumber. They sit in the White House.
And Trump trashed Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer by using Palestinian as a slur.
Chuck Schumer has become a Palestinian. Yes, can you believe it? He's become a proud member of Hamas.
Trump's lies and insults do not appear to be helping him much these days. The latest polls show Kamala Harris gaining ground and Trump losing some. Daily Kos, Harris up 4. Reuters Ipsos, Harris +1. Morning Consult, Harris +1. Also, Harris now leads Trump in 5 of the 7 battleground states. By all accounts, Harris is adding more independent and moderate voters, and Trump's support among these swing voters is eroding. Even President Biden, who withdrew from the race, is still getting in some memorable slams of Donald Trump. Just hours after the Trump Pennsylvania rally, the Biden White House announced a deal with Russia for the release of several Americans being held in Russian jails, including a reporter for the Wall Street Journal. President Trump said he could have gotten the hostages released without giving up anything. Well, that led to this question of President Biden at the White House.
President Trump has said repeatedly that he could have gotten the hostages out without giving anything in exchange. What do you say to that? What do you say to President Trump now, former president?
Why didn't he do it when he was president?
Sir, what did
Amidst all of this, Vice President Kamala Harris, the presumptive Democratic nominee, continues to hammer Trump in epic fashion in her campaign rallies.
So last week, you may have seen, he pulled out of the debate in September he had previously agreed to. So here's the thing. Here's the funny thing about that. So he won't debate, but he and his running mate sure seem to have a lot to say about me. And by the way, don't you find some of their stuff to just be plain weird? Well, Donald, I do hope you'll reconsider to meet me on the debate stage. Because as the saying goes, if you've got something to say, say it to my face.
The ongoing Harris ridicule seems to be working, and Donald Trump's counterpunches are falling flat. There is a broader theme at work here. In her speeches, Kamala Harris now often speaks of freedom. The freedom to be safe from gun violence, the freedom to make decisions about your own body. It could also mean another kind of freedom, freedom from Donald Trump, perhaps forever. In American politics, when you lose repeatedly, you leave. And it has been 68 years since a presidential nominee has been nominated twice and lost twice. Adlai Stevenson did not get a third chance. Donald Trump in 2028 would be well into his 80s, so I think it's safe to assume that if Trump loses, he will never be a political threat to our country ever again. freedom. Imagine that. If Donald Trump is defeated, he is history and we are free from him. We will never again have to hear in the White House or campaign trail his grotesque jokes and misogyny and outrageous demagoguery.
Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians.
You won't have to vote anymore. It will be fixed.
You won't have to vote
the Trump
anymore,
campaign
my beautiful
insists that he
Christians.
was referring to Christians who, as a bloc, tend to be low turnout voters, and that this will be their last opportunity to vote for Trump. Still, it's clear the Trump campaign is not quite sure what to do about Kamala Harris. So they've doubled down on authoritarian themes, and Trump is mixing in denigration. He has called Kamala Harris evil, a bum, and a liar, which is really rich coming from Trump. Trump has also insisted that Harris is a crazy liberal who would destroy our country. Some Republicans on Capitol Hill are calling Vice President Harris a diversity hire. The attacks are racist and sexist. And of course, Donald Trump refuses to condemn any of it. Instead, he's just adding to the coarsening of our political discourse while throwing in the line about making America great again. In other words, Donald Trump wants America to go back to a time when women, people of color, people with disabilities, and the LGBTQ+ community were considered lesser people. And freedom was reserved mostly for white men. America has made progress since then. Another Donald Trump administration, though, would turn back the clock. And ever since Donald Trump came down the escalator 9 years ago, America has been subjected to a steady stream of chaos and lies. Well, all of us deserve freedom from the drama and instability that define Donald Trump. In less than 100 days, let's end the MAGA Trump experiment. Say yes to Kamala Harris and say no to Donald Trump, who's only getting older, crazier, and more grotesque. By the way, Donald Trump is now exploding at Fox News for running this ad mocking him.
Donald Trump has never, ever been right in the head.
The late, great Hannibal Lecter.
It's an ad now running on Fox News.
An anonymous, really an anonymous.
And between the spot and the channel's news coverage, Mediaite headline, Trump loses it on Fox News for carrying Harris rally and letting perverts advertise on the network.
Take a look at the oranges of the investigation.
Venezuela, if you have a windmill anywhere near your house, they say the noise causes cancer.
True Social, why is Fox News putting on crazy Kamala Harris rallies? Why do they allow the perverts at the failed and disgraced Lincoln Project to advertise on Fox News?
I don't know what I said. Criminal.
Check out that video at the link below. It generated a lot of comments on YouTube. One of the most popular is from Jay Grushkin, who wrote, George Conway, the man who produced the ad, is the best Republican I've ever seen. I hear you. I look forward to reading your comments about Donald Trump turning the death of a MAGA supporter into a joke and punchline. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.